So I hate to begin this way, but we don't know much beyond what President Trump said. He sort of quipped that he's going to keep this a secret, but he said that on a radio show, and obviously he's the president, so whatever he says is broadcast wide. But he says this is going to happen this evening. He used the word patrol with both police and the National Guard. That is what he said. We don't know exactly when, we don't know exactly where, and we don't know exactly what this is going to look like, Nicole. But what we can say is that this is certainly going to be extraordinary, that President Trump is going to be out and about somewhere. Now, I think the big question is going to be patrol. Does that mean that he remains inside of some vehicle, or is he going to be out and about, much like we saw with J.D. Vance yesterday, the vice president, and Secretary Pete Hegseth? They were just beyond our shoulders over here. That is the entrance to Union Station, and they had lunch with the National Guard, which if you walk into those doors, you don't have to go too far to find the Shake Shack there. That's where they went in. Now, I was here the night before when you had the Chief of Staff of the Army come here and visit some of the National Guard troops. It took a heck of a lot of security and clearing out space for him. So you can imagine that if President Trump decides tonight that he wants to also walk outside, maybe perhaps mingle with some of the National Guard troops, that is going to be an even heavier lift and quite a security situation. Now, again, we haven't heard yet. The White House says that details will come later on tonight where he's going to be. As we've been reporting, Union Station has been, I think, the most visible for things like this, where you got the Humvees, you got the armored trucks that are not just in this location, but at several others throughout that we've seen over last week. So again, we don't want to speculate as to where exactly he's going to go, but by his own words, he said he's going to be with National Guard and police. Not the first time that President Trump has done something like this. I think you can call it extraordinary when a president makes a sort of decision to walk out and about in the nation's capital. Famously, in the first term, remember, he had that walk where he went to the St. John's Church just across the street. So this has happened before, and we're going to see today if we can follow the president and where he ends up tonight.
All right, Joe Khalil live for us there in Washington, D.C.